And then, Rob, the reports, Shams Charania, Woj, Adrian Wojnarowski, Chris Mannix, some of the NBA insiders, they are all reporting that Ime Udoka is going to get the Nets head coaching job. Of course, he was an assistant there, Rob, 2 years ago. And last year, coached the Boston Celtics, first year as a head coach, and did a fantastic job. As I said, Rob, improved the defense from being 14th in the league to second, and their defense was stingy. Gets them to the NBA Finals, where they lose to Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. But overall, a great season. And that's why it was so shocking when he was suspended by the Celtics and for sexual misconduct. Had what was reported as a consensual sexual relationship with a coworker who was under him. And then the reports were that, you know, when they stopped and she wanted to call off the relationship, that he continued to pursue it. But he was not fired. He was just suspended. And now, at least reportedly, Rob, the Nets are going to hire him to coach this team. And who knows, that might be tomorrow, might be the next day. Sean Marks is saying nothing's been done. Nothing's been, agreed to yet. But it seems like that's where things are headed, Rob. What are your thoughts?
Mistake. I think it's an absolute mistake. Not that Udoka Chris can't coach again or get another opportunity. Just seems too fresh and too soon. And like you say, he has a relationship with the Nets people. He was there, but if I'm the NBA, I don't feel comfortable with it. I don't know if he's served enough suspension. I don't think he's been to rehab or whatever you want to call it, Chris, counseling, or did enough yet to come back 10 games into the season. Like, you're supposed to be suspended for a year from the Celtics, and you're back in the NBA at the bench 10 games later. I think it's just too soon. I think
when you say rehab, what do you mean?
I meant like counseling or whatever, for whatever the issue.
Is it something he definitely needs counseling for?
Well, I'm just assuming that when you have to step away, you get suspended for a year from your job, there's some issues there. I believe that.
Yeah. I think sometimes people make mistakes. People know what they're doing is wrong, and they may not need counseling. You just need to stop. You need to learn your lesson. Look, I hear you, Rob. I kind of, when the news came out that Udoka was going to be suspended, this was early. This was right away when it wasn't really all the details were out. I was kind of joking with some people, around the league saying, man, the Nets need to hire him. Because obviously he was in their building. He was an assistant to Steve Nash, and he goes to Boston, and it looked like one got away. And lo and behold, here it is. I knew this guy wouldn't get it, Rob, and I've mentioned him for several jobs, but it seems like coaching is just not in the cards for him anymore. I was going to say Mark Jackson.
I already know what you were going to say. Right. Mark, he was born, Chris, he was born in Brooklyn, grew up in Queens, a New York guy, has a high-profile television job. Yep. He had success early on with the Warriors. Everything, if everything is there, that this would be a layup. He would get
respect from those players.
Would be a layup.
Yeah, I agree.
He's not in the mix. And he had a token interview, Chris, this past offseason, right? Who gave it to him? Remember, he interviewed somebody. Was
it Minnesota, maybe?
Somebody gave him an interview, and that was the first interview he's had in years.
Or Lakers, maybe. Yeah, it wasn't Minnesota. They didn't have an open.
No, I think the Lakers might have been talked Lakers. About, but he didn't get in.
I don't even know if he. Yeah.
No, he had an interview this year. Yeah, but I'm with you. That would be logical, given his history of New York, given that he was born in Brooklyn, Queens guy, raised in Queens. Yep. All the signs are there.
Yeah.
And they just will not. Mark is persona non grata when it comes to coaching. And it's not the NBA, Chris, because if it was the NBA, He wouldn't be on TV doing national games.
Right.
They have a right to say the ESPN and people hire, but the league can say, no, not him.
They got a partnership with the league.
Right.
There's no question.
They could say not him.
And they've done it before.
Yep.
You know that. So, no, I agree with you. So I thought Mark would have been good. Quinn Snyder was mentioned. I thought he would have been good. Look, Nash was not ready. So we can name dozens of guys that would have been an upgrade. But I'm going to say this, Rob. I don't have a problem with Ime Udoka. All the details have not come out. Everything is pointing to, at least at some point, the relationship was consensual. Not condoning what he's done, because again, we don't know all the details. But I would have to believe, right? Look, the Nets, they obviously feel like they know his character, right? He was an assistant there. I would think, Rob, with all of the drama, and that's a nice way to put it, right, that they've got going on. Kyrie is just one thing after another. Kevin Durant wanting out. I mean, it's risky to bring in Udoka. It really is. And you and Ilo joked about protesters, being at the game. It's possible. I mean,
Chris,
it's possible.
It is. I'm dead serious when I say that if they hire him, there could be protesters against that they felt like it was too light. He really didn't pay any kind of punishment. And I believe that. And I think that'll be, and here's the other thing too, that you open up and you say, we don't know all the details. That doesn't mean that the Boston Celtics, when they did their independent investigation, don't know the details. You might not know, I might not know, and the public might not know.
Of course the Celtics know.
Right, but the Celtics, and he knows, and that's why he didn't even fight his suspension, which is, if you really believe you were wrong, I think you would have at least wanted to go to an arbitrator or something.
I don't think he know. I think he had a sexual relationship with somebody there, and I think that's clear. No, I don't think there was anything for him to say he was wrong about.
Yeah,
that he was wronged.
Right. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to say because we don't know the details that they're not hellacious or bad. Here's my other point. As the Nets organization, you better be careful, because if you bring that guy in-house and he's not ready to fly right and be right, you might open yourself up to other situations. And then you will be liable in that you hired a guy who already had a situation or a circumstance.
Well, be smart.
No,
Put
I'm
some
just saying.
clauses in the contract. I mean, seriously. And Rob, you've covered leagues long enough. Consensual relationships between coaches and people in organizations happen. Players and people in organizations. I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying he is certainly not the only one. Now, maybe he went beyond that. Obviously, there's reports of some type of harassment, and I'm not saying that's commonplace. But I look, I'm sure they're vetting the situation. There is a risk because if people want to protest, they will protest. But I'm looking at this as a basketball situation. If the Nets feel comfortable with this thing, I mean, you get players that get suspended for misconduct. I mean, NFL, they don't play 82 games,
I didn't say he can't come back.
Watson, right. Deshaun Watson's coming back after 10 games, 11 games,
I'm just saying that 10 games into the season is too quick for me. Not even 10. It's the Nets are 5 and the Nets are 2 and 5. So 7 games in, he could be the coach before they even play their 10th game. That just seems really quick to me. That's my biggest issue.
That's fine.
Not whether or not he gets an opportunity. I'm not one of those people who don't believe people deserve second chances or opportunities. And I said to you before when that first came out, he won't coach the Celtics again. And I knew that from Jump Street. Now, he might – I never believed he was ever going to coach the Celtics again, and they could bring him back into their building. I knew that.
Yeah, I thought the only way that might happen is if it was a disaster under Joe Mazzulla. But anyway, obviously nothing criminal was done, and he's back. And I'm looking at it as a basketball situation. I know a lot of these guys aren't saints, and hopefully he'll learn, though. And if I'm the Nets, I got clauses, and I'm certainly let him know with in no uncertain terms that stuff won't be tolerated here. We're giving you another shot, dude.
I've seen this,
and we'll see how it goes. But I don't have a problem with it.
We've seen this before with Steve Phillips, who was the general manager of the Mets, who lost his job, Chris, messing around with subordinates. He went to ESPN, became a star analyst on Major League Baseball. He was as good as they get, and lost his job again with the same scenario with, subordinates. So I've seen it happen. I've seen people get second chances, and you would think to yourself, why would you put yourself in that spot again?
Right.
But it happens.
And you've seen people get second chances and make it right. So we'll see what Udoka
for
does.
people
I
say,
hope
well,
he's
he did it
smart
one time.
enough.
He won't do it. He's smarter than that. I'm just saying that there are people who have got second chances and still go and do the same exact thing. So we'll see.